Is video number 3, and this video is about closing your sales, because many of you are wondering, Sean, just tell me, how do I get a sale, right? A lot of you are looking to get that first sale. A lot of you are struggling with closing your sale. So this is actually going to be a two-part video. Okay, so this is going to be video number 1, where I'm going to teach you a very important technique on closing, and then video number 2 will be a separate technique. Okay, and there are many different techniques in closing, and I'm definitely going to keep including them as I develop videos for closing techniques, okay? So the very first thing that I want to teach you guys about with closing is the importance of building value before you close, okay? And I don't know whether you're an MCA or you're in another online business, or maybe you're promoting a product or service, but you better make sure that you have built value before you try to close somebody, because it's very important to ask somebody for their business, but if you haven't shown them any value, or they haven't gotten on board with something that you've said, it's going to be very hard to close them. When you ask them for their business, they're just going to flat out tell you no, or they're just going to ignore you, right? So we have to build value before we close, okay? And I'm not going to really teach you how to build value in your business, because I don't know exactly what business you're working. All I can say is follow the training that you've been provided for your business, and you'll know exactly how to build value. You'll know the benefits. What are the benefits of your company? What does your company provide? And you need to make sure that you're including that in your conversation, okay? So this is the step after you've built value and you're ready to ask them for the business, right? And this is the number one thing. You need to always be closing. ABC. Remember that. Always be closing. When you're talking to somebody, urgency behind your close. You want to make sure you're using words like today. You want to make sure you're using words like right now. And that comes down to your belief level. Okay, closing is all about belief and confidence. Remember that. Belief and confidence will increase your closing. Do you believe in your opportunity? That's something you really need to think about before you go and even close anybody. Do you believe in your product or service? Do you believe in what you're doing? Because if you don't, it's going to show. And when you go to close somebody, they're not going to want to accept the information, or they're not going to want to join you, okay? They're not going to want to buy from you, or they're not going to want to join you unless you're confident when you close, okay? So closing, again, is all about confidence. Now, when you go to close a sale, it's very important that you get them in a yes mindset. So in this video, I'm going to cover what's called the yes train. And this is something that I learned in my management position that I held. I actually promoted DirecTV at the time. And we were going over all the benefits of DirecTV, satellite TV. And, I was trying to close sales with people, right? And I wanted to get them to switch from their current cable provider over to DirecTV. And it was very important that, I went through the value of the service. But when it came down to closing and somebody gave you the common objection of, oh man, I got to think about it, right? How many of you guys have heard that before, right? I need to think about it, or, I need some time to research it, or whatever, right? And a lot of times we'll just let them go and let them research, and that's fine. But if you really feel like that person's ready to take that step, which you should, and it's very important that you go through yes questions and getting them on the yes train. So for example, if you're an MCA, you can relate to this, okay? I'm going to go over the benefits of MCA, and then I'm going to show you what the yes train looks like exactly, okay? So with MCA, obviously there's a lot of financial benefits to it. You can make a great income working from home, but you also get tons of benefits from the service too, right? So when I go to close somebody and they tell me, hey, I need to think about it, I say, okay, yeah, sure. We'll say the person's name is John in this example, okay? Yeah, sure, John, I understand. Of course, it's very important that you think about it. What exactly did you need to think about? Because it sounds to me like, you're really interested in the income opportunity, right? Yes, of course they're going to say yes to that question. You already know that they're going to say yes to that question. So yeah, it sounds like you could really use that extra income, right? You told me about you're struggling with your bills and that sort of thing, so you could use the income. Yes. Okay, great. There's your first question. Question number 2. It sounds like you could probably use the roadside assistance benefits at some point, right? And you did say that, you wanted to travel. You did say, it's very important that they said it, okay? You did say that, you wanted to travel at some point. That was one of your goals. And, when you're traveling, you could probably use some good roadside assistance and some travel discounts, right? Oh, yeah, well, yeah, that does make sense. Okay, there's your second yes. Now your third yes. And don't you really think that, if you just wait around and you don't take action on this, you stay stuck at the job that you already told me, you don't really like very much, and you keep doing what you're doing, don't you think that nothing's going to change? Don't you think now would be the best time for you to make a change in your life and do something better, and allow me to help you get there and follow the right path with our team? Yes, of course they're going to say yes because they already told you the problem that's going on in their life, right? So you're asking yes questions. You already know, and think about these questions. Write these things down, guys. Write this stuff down. Write down the questions you're going to ask as it pertains to your business. So that was a great example for MCA, right? Can you use the roadside benefits? Yes. Do you need the income? Yes. Do you think if you join my team today, your life's going to change quicker than if you wait around 5 years? Yes. Okay, right? They are definitely going to respond to those questions with a yes answer. So once you get them, psychologically, it's very important that they're in the yes mindset because you want them to say yes to your opportunity. So guess what the next thing that you do is after you get them on what's called the yes train, where they've said yes multiple times to your questions. You go ahead and you ask them for the business. So you say, okay, so it sounds great. It sounds like, you could really use all of these things. I'd like to get you set up right away in some training. I'd like to help you out right away. So what I'm going to do now, boom, close. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to send you my link. It's very important that you fill that out thoroughly. And when they tell you that your membership's on the way, or after you complete your order, or whatever you guys say, right? After you complete your order, message me back right away. That way we can get you started. Boom, get you started making money right away. Reinforce at the end what the primary purpose is. That way we can get you paid by next Friday. Even throw some urgency in there. I love that one. If you're an MCA, use that one. Message me back right away. That way we can get you paid by next Friday. So boom, yes. You've asked them for the business. You've closed them. And then at the end, you reinforced what you just said and you build urgency behind it. Boom, that's awesome. That's what works, guys, is building urgency. And right there, you built tremendous value. And you know what you did? You got them to say yes to you, right? You got them to agree with what they're saying. But not only that, you reminded them that previously in the conversation, that was what they talked about. That's what they said they needed most. So, if you say exactly what they said to you, how can they say no? They can't, because that's truly what they believe. And what this yes train close is really all about is getting them, it's collecting their thoughts. What we're doing is we're organizing the topics that you covered previously in the conversation. So all that value that you built, you're basically just giving them a list of value points that they already brought up to you. They needed more money. They wanted some more freedom in time freedom to spend with their family. They wanted to travel more, which means they could use the discounts and all the benefits with MCA, right? As MCA is my example, right? So all three of those things applied in the conversation earlier. Bring it up again in the close, reinforce it, remind them that they did say that, and get them to say yes. And once you do that, you'll notice the close is so much easier, guys, because you want your close to be effortless. You don't want to feel like you're like asking them to do something they don't want to do, right? You want to just remind them, hey, this is something you really need, and be honest with them and tell them straight up. Be like, you know what? I know this is something that could really benefit you. And what we're going to do is we're going to help you out. We're going to get you joined up on our team. We're going to get you trained fully, and just make sure that, you get started right away. That way we can get you paid by next Friday. Again, reinforce it and build urgency. So that was the yes train close. And again, just a quick summary. After you've built value is when you close, okay? And I'll go over this again in the next video just to recap, but after you've built value is when you close. Make sure you've had a good conversation. Make sure you get to know them a little bit. If there's somebody that needs to think and somebody that needs to have a conversation, if they're ready to go right away, that's great. But, if you need to work the steps, work these steps. It's very important. And build the value. And then at the end, when you go to close, if they give you an objection, I need time to think about it, or they say, I need to talk to my wife about it, see if we want to join together, or they say, oh, I don't really know, I already got another job. I don't know if I'll really have time for this, right? Many different, I don't have the $40. That's a huge one in MCA, right? I don't know if I have the money. Everybody's got $40, guys, and if you're selling a product or service that's right around that price point, everybody's got it, okay? a weekend of going to the movies and hanging out, or for many people going to the club and drinking, right? So you got to realize, you got to see past that. You got to help them see the value of why they need to invest their money in what you're talking about and what you're promoting, right? And it's not just you promoting, it's about them starting to promote what you're talking about, right? So getting them to talk about essentially what you want them to talk about, which is your opportunity and why they need it, and getting them to say yes to the questions that you ask. And after they say yes, ask them for the business. But remember, ABC, always be closing. And then guys, if you guys are ever struggling with a close, use this. It really works, okay? Getting them to say yes and getting them in that state of mind will only help your sales. And even if they don't sign up right away, or even if they're not a customer right away, at some point down the line, I can pretty much tell you, if you check in with them and you keep it real with them, they're going to want to join you, or they're going to want to buy from you. So I hope you guys gain tremendous value from this closing video. Again, this was on the yes train, or the yes questions close. So in the next video, I'm going to cover something called the closing circle. I'm also going to give you guys a few different techniques you can use to close people at a very, very high rate. My closing ratio is about 3 out of 4 people, or I'm sorry, 1 in 5 people is my closing ratio right now. So out of every 5 people that I talk to, I close 1. And out of 2 out of 10 will end up signing up. Okay, so that's pretty good. And because I apply these techniques that work. Okay, so I will see you guys on the next video, where I close with the closing circle.